The motion is to suspend the rules, go to 7E. William Coleman and Brenda Jenkins request an opportunity to address the City Council and administration regarding the closing of the Henry Lee Willis Community Center. And Mr. Coleman or Ms. Jenkins, if you'd like to speak on that, you're more than welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm here on behalf of many citizens in the Worcester Community County, and we would like to address the issue regarding the Henry Lee Willis Center and the dismantling and the closing of the Henry Lee Willis Center. And we have a formal request that we like to bring forward and that has really impacted, Worcester communities of color, particularly African-American community, which was one of the largest leading organizations in central Massachusetts. So, and the concern that we have as citizens that, we've heard a lot of whispers, but there really hasn't been anything very clear to talk about what really happened. So tonight, I'd like to read a formal request and asking the local delegation would they actually look into this. So one of the things that I wanted to do was ask the City Council to make a formal request and the state following. What was the state's process that led to the Henry Lee Willis Center losing over $11 million in state contracts? And what was the process as the reallocation of the state contracts, and why the reallocation of that funding did not include other minority-led organizations? What is the state's long-term plan to assist in the capacity of building of further development of existing and of new minority-led organizations, Black and Latino? And we're asking if we could put this findings presented back on your agenda February 12th. And I find that when you have 280 employees lose their jobs, don't have questions about whether or not if they're going to be transitioning to other organizations that we do not know that have the cultural competency infrastructure of being able to provide safe jobs, not just for the employees, but as well for the families that have been impacted by the organization. I think it's a disjustice for the city of Worcester that we don't have answers. I think it's injustice that we lose, that over $11 million and nobody is red flagging and asking no questions. We may understand there may be some historical issues, but it doesn't answer the question, what was the process to lead to the decision of this organization being dismantled, and then at the same time there was no response, not even from a local delegation to our state delegation. So this is why I'm here this evening, to put a formal request to address this issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Coleman.
Over the last couple of weeks, many of us have traveled to the churches and talked to community organizations and have listened to people's cries out. And some of us who, they say to know your history is to know your future, but many of us who go back to standing in this council when almost 96 people stood here in behalf of an organization called Prospect House. And then we had City Manager Jeff Mulford listen with the council very attentively to the folks who voiced their concerns over what was happening with Prospect House. Prospect House was a social service agency run by Betty Price, an elected official, school committee, charter commission, that served the city of Worcester from early 1970s to 1979. And now many of the folks are saying they are getting ideas about what has happened, and the questions are still there. Now we want those questions answered by our elected officials, and the questions asked by our elected officials, simply because there will be another minority organization that'll be diverse, that'll handle the services that Henry Lee Willis handled. I taught in many of those programs, and the void is huge, but the community is frustrated by the lack of no answers from delegations. Now, some of our elected officials felt that things were fine. They fought for Henry Lee Willis, got him $200,000 last year, and things came up. Now, I know there's a meeting with Councilor Lukes' subcommittee on Monday at 5 o'clock, and when I shared that information throughout the city to the community people, they were like, okay, any way you can have a town meeting where we can really get some of the folks to come out and just ask questions. Maybe have our state delegation come up and have them make inquiries. This is really important. This is about diversity. It's respecting the diversity of our community. You know, I come here and I say, this is your elected official. You have to file a petition. Go before the council. Have the council make the inquiries. Back then we had, you know, city manager from Milford. He got on the phone with some folks. The elected officials got on some phones with some folks. And, you know, what the agreement ultimately came out was the creation of Henry Lee Willis. And just from a historical viewpoint, Henry Lee Willis was considered the first African-American resident of the city of Worcester. You know, that's where the name came from. But now we're looking at an opportunity to say to the people of Worcester, we're here. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to get some questions for you. And I'm pumping for everybody in this room. Because when I said to people, well, let's go before the council. Let's have the council make the inquiries to our state delegation and state officials, and have those state officials get back to them and have them together get back to our community to get some real answers. And some people were like, are you sure this is going to work? And I said, this is the process. And I've become a bureaucrat over the years. I understand process. As you know, all of you, we all know it together. A lot of people in this community don't believe in process, or they're frustrated with process. So I'm saying to each one of you, the minority community in Worcester, I hate the term minority, but anyway, the diverse community in Worcester is looking for political leadership from its local elected officials to the answer of why did Henry Lee Willis lose his contracts? And the other day when they had the feeding frenzy of agencies vying for some of that, those contracts, why did Harriet Chandler feel so frustrated when she says, why didn't I know about this? She said, a year ago I knew about it. There was collaboration talk. Things are going to go well. And now she's in a room where this program's going for this and that program's going for that. Thank you in behalf of Worcester's community of diversity for taking up this. And I hope that you use the power of our local elected officials to get some answers for a community that is dying for something.